Welcome to the Geeks Attic. With me, I have Jeremy from Stupid Chainsaw Productions.
I didn't just embarrass myself.
Oh, here's good. You're dancing a little bit behind the scenes, and then
the music slaps.
Yeah, it does. Enjoy that. Hopefully, it's royalty free and don't get slapped with a. That'd be a dirty way to do it. StreamYard, like, oh yeah, you could use this music. They get slapped with a copyright.
That'll be the theme to paper movie.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, yeah. Hey guys, thanks for joining us in the comments there. I thought it'd be fun to look at one of the worst Star Wars books, in my opinion, the Crystal Star. Look at the Amazon reviews, the 5 stars, the 1 stars. I thought maybe it might be fun. Maybe it flops and it's horrible. And then later on, Jeremy's going to give us a little rundown of his reread of the Thrawn trilogy from the expanded universe. Is that right?
Well, Heir to the Empire.
Heir to the Empire. Okay.
Right.
The Heir to the Empire. So, look forward to that towards the end of this video. I have Amazon pulled up. Okay.
Are
Jeremy,
we doing Crystal Star, or can we do another book? Maybe another new canon book?
Oh, let's do the Crystal Star, and then I'll let you pick one.
I'll think
and we'll read some of those. Okay. I'm gonna do a share screen here and bring up Amazon. Let's see if this works here.
And we should bring up a point here with regarding Aftermath. That's not one I want to pick because there was that whole controversy with
the author
to boost the 5-star ratings, which is such a weird thing to think about.
Yeah.
I wonder though, with Crystal Star, how many Witchfire reviews we're gonna get, and a bunch of people like
that would be great.
I thought this was a Star Wars book, but it's this Witchfire in it.
That would be fantastic. I want to start this off too by saying I had a live stream a while back where I put together a DIY Waru. It was a silly nonsense type stream. And,
I love
and the weirdest thing, this happened about maybe 3 weeks ago. I checked Twitter and I have a heart, like a love, like the like on Twitter, the heart from the Vonda N. McIntyre Literary Estate.
That's wonderful.
She liked, so much time has gone by since that live stream, and she, this estate likes that tweet.
Yeah, because she passed away this year. I want to
say that's horrible.
Sure.
I'm sure she wrote many good books, and somebody out there likes the Crystal Star.
I mean, I've wanted us to do some of the Star Trek movie novelizations, and she wrote several of those.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is surprising. 57% are 5-star reviews. Wow.
This is fascinating. So for those of you who don't know or new to the Star Wars expanded universe and stuff, the Crystal Star is considered one of the worst Star Wars books ever written by Vonda N. McIntyre, who this is the only novel she wrote for Star Wars. She came off of Star Trek, which there have been many authors who wrote Star Trek and wrote Star Wars, but they're two different beasts. And Crystal Star's big problem is it probably would have worked as a Star Trek book, but it's not very Star Warsy at all.
No.
Matthew hates this book.
My eyes twitching already thinking about it.
I kind of indifferent to it because I've read so much worse, in my opinion, of Star Wars, especially in the last, how many years into Disney are we now?
What is it?
6
years, maybe 6, 7,
6 years, and the lack of quality control on a consistent level of garbage. Crystal Star's almost quaint at this point in the department.
It's funny, as much as I hate it, it's one of the more popular things discussed on my channel.
It is. Well, I mean, you literally have a spam Twitter account called the Waru Slayer.
Yeah. There's GIFs on the Giphy. You can just type in the Geeks Attic. You'll find things with the Crystal Star. Silly nonsense. So what do you guys want to dive into first? You want to go to a 5-star review or a 1-star?
I'm curious because I would not give this book 5 stars, but I wouldn't give it 1 star either.
Yeah. I give it a 0 star. See, this one's a good one. A 5-star review. Good.
I knew it. I knew we could get garbage like this.
Thank you, user GLT. Really appreciate that review. Fine review. Kindle customer. They gave it a 5 stars. Says my audio collection. I guess I don't know what these links are to. I'm not going to click those. It says, I have read the book before and loved it. Then I found it on audio, and the cats sit next to the stereo listening to this intently. Then they dressed up as Jedi for Halloween. Okay.
What does that mean?
Someone's trying to be funny there.
Did this poor person, I'm assuming she, because crazy cat lady?
Could be. Dressed her cats up like Jedi.
Her poor felines up.
As Jedi. Yeah, that's horrible. I'm sure this is going to be the audiobook is probably abridged.
Oh yeah, because unless your name's Timothy Zahn, all Bantam Star Wars books are abridged.
Yeah. See, this is a pathetic review right here too. Shipped fast, and my husband loved it. That's a 5-star review. Just because it shipped fast and your husband liked it. It's not even a review. It's not even a review from the person who read the book.
It's not even a review about the content of the book. It's just a review on shipping.
Yeah. So that he got here fast. 5 stars.
Hey, sometimes you especially in a COVID world, it's very hard to actually get an Amazon package to ship quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although that's from when was that?
That was in 2016.
Ooh, we got an old one from 01.
Okay, this is going to be great. Although there have been many reviews putting this book down, I liked it. Leia and Han's children have been kidnapped, along with Chewie and R2-D2. She follows the kidnapper's trail and discovers that it is much deeper than a simple kidnapping. While Luke, Han, 3PO are on a planet called Koreshi. I don't know how people say that word. I always said Koreshi.
Same.
Yeah, which one of its stars is dying and causing a disruption in the Force and is cutting off Leia and Luke from contacting each other through the Force. Also on Koreshi is a mysterious alien named Waru, who performs miraculous healings, which has caused a cult-like following. Okay, pretty boring review there, pretty basic.
I mean, to be fair, that's the best review we've read.
Yeah, it is. It's an actual review.
But it's more of a synopsis than a review.
This is very true, too. Wow, yeah. See, you guys are commenting there in the comments. Christopher, thank you for joining, Chris. It says, read the review entitled Misunderstood Jim. Okay. Oh, wow. That's a...
Oh, no.
Oh, no way.
Oh, man. Here we go.
This is huge. Should I really read that?
Which one of your kids just sounded like a sprained door?
I know, they're not wanting to go to bed. It's horrible. They heard what I was doing. They're like, no, Waru. Ah!
You gotta give them some ether. That's put a little ether in a rag.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So this misunderstood Jim.
I'm not reading that.
That's just so big.
That's what she said.
Okay. That's too much to read on here.
No, read it.
You want me to read it? My gosh. Okay.
It might actually be a genuine review.
Okay. The problem this book faced upon release was the fact that a number of vocal internet fans derided it for being See, I'm a horrible reader. When it comes to being live on here, the stress gets to me. The problem this book faced upon release was the fact that a number of vocal internet fans derided it for daring to move Star Wars away from the harder sci-fi trappings of authors like Stackpole and into more experimental fantasy terrain. Bantam's Star Wars line was beginning to fall into a creative lull as a too terrestrial, too familiar element began to dominate books like the X-Wing series with its overdue of stock aliens, American anachronisms, and pervasively homogeneous culture, causing the Star Wars universe to suddenly feel a bit tired and prosaic. Vonda McIntyre sought to fix that by taking her story in a completely different creative direction.
That's true.
Yeah. The Star Wars Expanded Universe exists in both comics and novels long before Zahn wrote his first word, and yeah, that's also true. And diversity of storytelling was built into it from the start. The Crystal Star gets a lot of points from remembering that part of the film. Strength was its sense of awe and mystery. McIntyre doesn't just regurgitate the same planets, alien races, and situations, but creates fascinating new ones. To be sure, there is a lot of weirdness to be found, and it's one of the book's charms. I've got a kid down there yelling at me. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. Mom was taking care of it. Years later, the Yuuzhan Vong would bring horrific weirdness to new levels, and years before, Alan Moore brought Lovecraftian weirdness to the Star Wars universe. Dark Horse's Tales comic series and Visionaries would see even more experimental narratives in the forefront. But prior to the prequel trilogy and at the height of corporate cloned and neutered Seattle grunge bands, things that were different were hardly appreciated. Jeez. This is a legit review, guys. McIntyre was also the first to utilize the solo kids as main characters, which was another factor some fans didn't like. True, it highlighted the uniqueness of the kids and their special abilities with the Force. McIntyre may have created only precocious children, but the real issue was that some resented the kids because of what they represented, the start of a new era, and one in which the solo children would grow up to take the mantle from the older generation, and which is seeing fruition now in the brilliant legacy novels. Back then, however, many simply weren't ready for that, or for stories in which kids handle mature situations in intelligent ways, a staple of classic children fantasy literature. You liking this review, Jeremy?
I am. It's actually it's a genuine review, other than it's shipped fast.
It's shipped fast, and my husband likes it. So, is there a way to vote things down? I guess that's what we should have done. We should have reported abuse on that. It's shipped fast review. Please, you want me to continue this?
Yeah.
Some have also cited McIntyre as failing to represent. Wait, did I read that? No. Some have also cited McIntyre as failing to present correct characterizations, Luke being the most misunderstood in this regard. Here, the book suffered due to the fact that Bantam released it out of chronological sequence and prior to the book, which revealed that he lost Callista. Thus, Luke is affected not just by the proximity of an imploding star, which is causing strange effects in the Force, nor just by Waru's influence, by the pain loss of an important love interest. McIntyre presents Luke as a human being, not a superhero, and one in which external and internal factors contribute to cause deep emotional turmoil. On his own, without his wife or steady conscience in the form of Chewie, Han finds himself looking back upon an old life that he enjoyed but left behind to become more responsible. Now with kids, that old life is forever gone. So at this bittersweet stage of his life, walks back into the life of an old girlfriend and potent reminder of headier days. Han's response to her is realistic, and so is Luke's to his. Zaveri herself is robust and fascinating, and a welcome addition to the cast. Finally, Leia's characterization was attacked and overreactive, primarily by those who don't understand that to be a parent is to overreact. Okay, sorry. Like I said, I'm a bad reader when it comes to being alive.
It's okay. You're doing just fine.
Okay, but rather than become crippled by her fears and worries, Leia goes into action and takes charge. Her perspective is an important one in the book, and one that continues to bolster the character as a woman, as a leader, as a politician, and as a mother. On the antagonist front, Heir, is that what you would say?
What?
Heir, in many ways seems to be the standard Star Wars villain, cut from the cloth of Palpatine, but without the years of Machiavellian wisdom. Machiavellian wisdom? Never read that word before. His relationship with his son Tigris and later young Anakin are of interest, as is his Achilles heel, his greed, which turns him into a pawn of Waru, truly one of the weirdest Star Wars villains ever created. That's something from EC Horror Comics and Call of Cthulhu combined. Waru is a refreshingly different creature in the Star Wars Melu, and a lot of fun to boot. This person is a liar. I find the Crystal Star refreshing and a lot of fun, with some intriguing and well-drawn characterizations that portray heroes struggling with important issues, abandoning the hard sci-fi tedium that has crept into the series. With a more fantasy-flavored element, the book remains one of the most interesting and diverse of the Star Wars novels, a thematic predecessor of sorts to the New Jedi Order, and a continuation of the more mysterious experimental Star Wars outings like Dark Empire and some of the old Marvel tales. Highly recommended. Ugh. Too positive for the Crystal Star.
I will say that this individual brings up some great points.
They do. They really do. Makes me want to reread it.
They forget to. They don't add in that Crystal Star was yet another book that had the cliche of what do we do with Luke? He's too powerful. There's a star that's affecting his force ability. Yeah. It's almost as bad as like the storm thing in Planet of Twilight, where people get struck by lightning if Luke uses the force. That's the dumbest. Being someone who just finished Heir of the Empire with the Islamari, the creature that mask the force.
Yeah, I always think those are silly.
It's silly, but it hadn't been done before.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, that's caused this whole we got to neuter Luke's power thing.
Yeah.
And this book is no exception to that. The one positive, like I always say with this book, is this is the first time we see Jaina and Jason do something. It's the best part of the book. I like that this user neglected to mention Luke swimming around in Waru.
Yes, they left that important detail out.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I kind of glanced at this next review, and I'm wondering if this is a troll positive review. I don't know.
Okay.
It says, "Are you people all crazy?" A 5-star review. This is in 2000. Okay, this book is probably the best Star Wars book ever written. How can you not like it? Okay. Okay, it's been forever since I read it, and I have to again, so I don't really have too many specifics on why it's the best. But
you're still specific wrong.
Yeah, it's specifics on why it's the best. But you people should just know. I love the fact that this is you. I loved the fact that in this you really get to see more of Jaina and Jason than most of the others. But even though I really don't have details, this book is the best Star Wars book that I have ever read, and that's kind of a lot. And at least this book has a good writer, unlike some. I mean, a lot of books have a great plot, this being one of them, but the author is awful, this not being one of them. So just whatever you people think what you want, but this will always be my favorite Star Wars book of all time. Confusing review here. And I definitely would give this book
That's not how you spell definitely.
I would defiantly give this book and 13 out of 10. Thank you. Right. 2 people found that one helpful.
And 13?
Yeah. And 13 out of 10.
Oof. Ooh. This is before text message speak.
Chris says in the comments that I've said this twice now already, but I can't wait for them to find out the review is written by Joe from StarWarsTimeline.net. No Star Wars dummy, an EU author himself. Wow. Okay.
That makes sense that Joe would defend it.
I mean, it was a legit review. I mean, it sounded like it was definitely a professional writer, for sure, who wrote that review.
And spell specifically wrong. That's the real truth right there. Let's switch to 1-star reviews.
Just 1 star?
Yeah. We got to hit the polars.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Okay, I was going to see if it had a sort like the most helpful. I want to know what the most helpful one was.
That would be these 2 on the top here.
Okay.
Good book.
Here we go.
That was a 4-star review, people. Good book, no capitalization.
Wait, that was a 4-star?
Yeah.
Good book. Hey, I guess their copy didn't ship fast.
Oh, just plain awful. There we go. That's what Matthew wants to read right there.
2 Amy Pacifics. Thank you, quality. All right, here we go with the 1 stars. This is just plain awful. I'm in complete agreement with those who panned this trash. The book had nothing to redeem it. The whole narrative reads like a children's book. I suspect that it had been read at story time in daycare center. Nap time would have progressed swiftly. Shame on Miss McIntyre for foisting this on the reading public and on the editor for allowing it to be published. Ouch. It's kind of a harsh negative review, though.
Yes, it's there.
It is. I ordered Star Wars: The Crystal Star, but inside is a book by James Clemens, The Witchfire. What the heck? So they gave it a 1-star review.
Oh man.
We were very unhappy. Here's another one. Very unhappy. Star Wars book was sent to 10-year-old son. A Star Wars cover was placed over a book about witches. A very bad book. We were disgusted.
They're probably fundamental Christian.
I guess, but
That's
I mean,
funny.
it's like now they're like, son, we're sorry, we tried it, but you're never allowed to read Star Wars again.
God, can you imagine that? That'd be awful. It'd be like,
but sure. I mean, come on.
It's
These
like
people know it's about witches. It's like, well, what is a Jedi? A space wizard, right?
Yeah.
So wizard, witch.
I mean, when I went to Christian school, they said Star Wars was evil and I was going to go to hell. That was the thing that they told a kindergartner.
Wow. At my church on Father's Day one year gave us all the dad's shirts that had a picture of Yoda, and it said Yoda best dad.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But like, I remember on Matt Wilkins, it was an early episode of Princes of the Universe. Someone sent him a message saying that his first Star Wars book was the Jediism book, like the religion Jediism.
Wow.
I'm like, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. All American Cornbread in the comic says all of these 1-star reviewers are blasphemers and do not deserve the grace of Waru.
Waru for president.
Yeah. Rob D says Crystal Star about to fling itself at Matthew again. Yeah, I hope not. I've got it put in chains back there behind me. Quality says Waru is disappointed. And what would be worse for these people, witches or Waru? I would definitely say Waru would be worse than the witches.
A great book, The Witches and the Waru.
Yeah, The Witches of Waru. Waru's Witches. But it was misprinted. It was supposed to be a B, not a W. Small Time says, I like that we have people who haven't read it giving it a 1-star and 5-star reviews. Yeah, that's what people do. I'm not going to read this. I'm not going to read another really long one.
No, we got to get some just funny ones here. Oh, that one.
Okay, this one looks interesting. Star Wars Deep Space Suck.
That's probably an adult film.
Yeah, well, title of a review on Amazon, YouTube people.
Check out my OnlyFans.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Luke Skywalker, the premier Jedi of the galaxy, gets sucked into a cult religion way too easily. The only lightsaber action is the villain cutting 3PO in half. Han Solo does not fire his blaster even once. The Millennium Falcon does not engage in combat. The Solo kids are main characters. This book is not space opera. This book was boring and stupid. This book is the worst Star Wars novel I have ever read. This is the only book to ever provoke me to write a letter to the author. I explained to her why I didn't like the book. I asked her if she had ever actually seen a Star Wars movie. I asked politely for my money back. The author never replied. Well, of course
what did you expect, you idiot?
But most importantly, the author never admitted that this novel was based on a rejected Star Trek Deep Space Nine script she wrote. If the story wasn't good enough for the worst Star Wreck show of them all, it sure as heck isn't good enough for Star Wars. I'm triggered
right now. This is 2007, so we don't have J.J. Abrams, Alex Kurtzman garbage that has Star Trek's name on it.
Yeah.
How dare you say that Deep Space Nine is worse than Enterprise? Enterprise is a gigantic waste of time. Deep Space Nine is a nice experiment on it does the Prime Directive work. Like that's the whole point of that show. But yeah, like I've said numerous times, it was very clear that this read like Star Trek, and that it's like a Deep Space Nine script. Makes total sense.
I wonder if that's like actually true. And people don't do that. Don't write the author. Don't write a letter to the author and tell them how crappy their book was. I mean,
that's
as
like,
much as I dislike this book, as much as I dislike the new canon stuff, which I've, Chuck Wendig, for instance, his reactions and stuff. I never went to him and said, "You're an idiot. Your writing sucks. You're an idiot." You don't do that. You talk about how bad the book is. Like, oh, I don't like the writing style. I don't like the author's choice here. You don't directly attack an author and say, "I want my money back. Give me my money." Like they're gonna give you money back. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But that's just society today, I guess. I guess back in 2007, people were doing the same thing. I actually wrote the author and asked for my money back.
Trash compactor worthy. Ooh.
All right. This reads like the author was given a brief synopsis of Star Wars and never actually saw any of the movies. Is English also not the author's first language? Because it's written very awkwardly throughout the entire book. I actually knew this book was going to be terrible, so I had no expectations going into it. And I was right. It's terrible. Possibly the worst Star Wars book I've ever read. It's like a bad fanfic that a 12-year-old wrote.
Yeah. Okay. That's a bad way to go into a book. That's how I started to go into Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void, and I'm just like, you know what? Let's open our mind. And it turns out I love Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void. Just an unpopular opinion. I'm waiting to just get crucified in the comment section. Quality, defend me.
Nope, don't. Attack.
Quality loves it possibly more than I do. So take that, Matthew.
Good Lord, what a load of crap. Hey, look, KJA is no longer the worst Star Wars author on the planet. So Kevin J. Anderson?
Oh, he's one. Okay, here we go.
That honor sick now resides with Vonda. This was the first Star Wars book that I felt ripped off buying in hardcover. Ugh. Where to begin with this deep hurting? The characters were all wrong. The story didn't have the Star Wars feel. That ending, what the hell was that about? I still can't figure out what was happening. And the villain was boring. Avoid this book at all costs. This novel wasn't released. It escaped. I like that.
All right. Do you want to get one more of these 1 stars and we switch to another book?
Yeah, that sounds fine to me. Bad.
Well, yeah. Bad and then terribly boring lame, since they're both really short.
This is bad. The characters in this book are all cartoons of the people from the movies. All development prior to this novel has been ignored. All character development has been ignored. All common sense has been ignored with the weird force blotting stuff. This is a bad book, one of the worst I've ever read. So you know what I'm seeing with these last two that we read? It sounds like they're talking about The Last Jedi, talking about canon. Am I wrong? Is that the biggest argument? Is, they didn't follow through with the characters? Everything previous to this was ignored?
Yeah.
It sounds very similar. And these reviews, this was in 2001. That other one was, there's a 1998 review. Wow.
Yeah, I forget that Amazon's that old.
Yeah. Terrible, boring, and lame. I have read almost all of the Star Wars universe novels. This one was so boring and predictable and lame. Yawn. All right. Quality Autism in the comments says, nowadays the authors write us readers how terrible we are and how awesome their books are. That's true. Very true. All-American Cornbread Jeremy likes Yawn of the Jedi. I'm going to write him a letter calling him stupid and ask for my money back.
I do like Dawn of the Jedi. I like that whole era. of stuff, even though there's not much to it.
That's funny, Rob D. I remember the first time I read through the Legends novels timeline printed in the books. The Crystal Star sounded like a cool title, and I figured it would be interesting. Wrong.
All right. You know what I think it's time for?
What's that?
Let's read some From a Certain Point of View.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. From a Certain Point of View. A book for charity. No, we're not going to do The Empire Strikes Back because that's not out yet.
No, this is audiobook. I'm sorry. Go back. And let's go right here. Oh, the first one's now $14.
Well, yeah, that's the paperback.
Okay.
Absolute rubbish. Let's start there.
70% give it a 5-star.
So, for those of you who don't know, From a Certain Point of View came out on the 40th anniversary year that Star Wars came out. It is a book of short stories that tell the story of Star Wars from different characters in the background's perspectives.
Pretty much every character in the background's perspective. Just about.
A handful of them have Obi-Wan is the protagonist. But other than that, they're really characters that don't have a lot of dialogue or have none at all. Most of it's crap. It was written for charity, which makes it even less excusable to be crap. And it's just bafflingly bad.
Yep. Next one comes out next month. And
yeah. What was the code name for it?
Oh, something that I found on Twitter. They one of the editors said the subtitle for this book should be "Gay and in Space." So that's already setting themselves up for failure.
And for those, like, just to put this out here right now, Matthew and I literally don't care if a character in Star Wars, like what their sexual preference is, what their race is, what their creed is. What we want are good characters. And a good character needs to have more going for said character than their sexual preference, what the race is, what they believe in. Like it needs to be a mix. There needs to be a good character. These things can be in there. That's fine. But that can't be their character.
Right. It can't be the crutch that, like, everybody, let's lean on this part of the character. It's like, give us a good character, please.
And to me, it's a disservice for these minorities that they're trying to represent. It's literally like a corporate boardrooms. Like, this character has to be this character has to be that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't.
Yeah, and there's certain books that you could read, and it feels like they squeeze a little sentence in about the character that makes you know that they're a certain thing or whatever, what they prefer. It's like you had to put that in because the publisher sent it back to you and said, hey, we need to make sure that this character is this.
That's another thing. When it flows in the story, it's fine.
Yeah.
One comes to mind, Resistance Reborn has an offhand line, but it doesn't make sense in story.
Same with Black Spire.
Was that Black Spire?
Black Spire does it too. With yeah.
But the big one for me was Lords of the Sith. The 4th Disney canon book that came out was touted as the first gay character in Star Wars. And like, okay, that's interesting. That character is in one paragraph where she's actually a character. And like has things to do other than being like in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's from a certain point of view is a lot like this.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of nonsensical BS with a handful of decent stories.
It's the diversity book. That's all it is, right?
Diversity quota.
Yes.
It's also known as the Marvel Standard.
Which, by the way, from a certain point of view, there are some stories in that first book that I did enjoy.
Yeah, me too.
I'm looking forward to a couple of them in the new book coming out. I did a video about that. I read all of the excerpts that were released on them. Only 7 of the 40 sounded interesting to me. So I'm going to read those, maybe dive into a couple others, and we'll see how it goes. But right now we're looking at the 1-star reviews on Amazon from a certain point of view. And I'm wondering if there's going to be a difference in paperback versus the hardcover.
No.
If
it will say probably if you went to verify the purchase, whether they bought the paperback, the hardcover. The only thing that would be different is that the Audible version would also rate the performance of the narrator, which that's all over the place in the audiobook too. Yeah. But that's typical of short story books.
Yeah. Get some good storytellers and you get some bad storytellers. So first one, there's only 2 1-star reviews on here, which is kind of surprising, honestly.
Did you click on the 1-star reviews?
Yep.
Oh,
and it shows there's only 2. And they're both verified purchases. The first one says absolute rubbish. Of the 40 stories in this volume, only 4 of 6 of them are high quality or interesting. The rest are desperate to be relevant, canon, and adjacent to the main plot of the Star Wars, but fail miserably at engaging the reader because they are so incredibly, sorry, here we are again with the reading. They are so incredibly short that they barely qualify as a short story. In fact, some are so poorly written that they are indistinguishable from bad fan fiction. Save your money and buy the short story collection from the EU Expanded Universe. Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina, Tales of Jabba's Palace, Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Tales from the Empire, and so on. While these volumes are no longer considered canon by Disney, they are much more interesting and better written. So, I have all of those. Haven't read any of them yet. Have you read the Tales books, Jeremy?
Which ones?
We've got Tales of the Bounty Hunter, Tales of the Empire, Tales from the New Republic.
Yeah, I've read some of each. Tales from the New Republic is short stories from the Adventure Journal. Those are fine. They're actually really good. Some of them actually got audio books out of them, like audio drama.
Oh, cool.
Which is neat on cassette back in the day. But the new canon ones, they're just
Yeah. Well, I know that the new canon does have a big collection of short stories that they had in Star Wars Insider, but they pulled those. So they're really hard to find now.
Collection, or do they have a handful that have been reprinted in paperbacks?
They have some reprinted in paperbacks, but there are a lot still that are out there that I couldn't find. I have a list of the ones that I couldn't find. But apparently in December, Star Wars Insider is going to be publishing new short stories in preparation for the High Republic. And the short story is going to be written by Charles Soule.
Is it because the High Republic, or is it because no one buys Star Wars Insider anymore?
It could be. Because to me, that was the selling point of the magazine, was like, oh, there's a short story.
That's been the selling point since the prequels, since the internet became popular.
Well, it's like they stopped doing it when the movies, I think the last one was when Rogue One came out. They're like, all right, guys, we're going to stop.
Because I bought that issue.
Yeah.
I bought that issue to read that, and then it actually came out in the Rogue One paperback.
Yeah. So I think they probably stopped because they're like, oh, hey, we can't publish any more of this because we don't know the direction of the movies or something.
Now,
probably like that.
Do you buy the paperbacks for the short stories for the new canon?
I bought one paperback for the short story. I think it was actually considered a novella in the back. I can't remember. I might be wrong about that. What's that?
Was it the Delilah S. Dawson short story for Force Awakens?
Yes, I have that one, and the other one from Delilah S. Dawson, the Galaxy's Edge Black Spire. That has something in the back of it too.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't read that one yet. The short story, anyway. I mean,
I really don't like her writing.
Yeah, it's not the best. I mean, I was more pleased with the Galaxy Black Spire than I was with Phasma story.
I'm sorry, you lose me when you make a book about a children's theme park attraction and you have a hot poker shoved into your main character's tear duct.
Yeah.
And like almost gets her eyelid cut off.
Yeah, crushed in her storage boxes, I think.
Oh yeah, and then she gets the crap beaten out of her too. It's really unpleasant.
Yeah, I guess Phasma was unpleasant too. A lot of graphic stuff in that book too.
Phasma wasn't promoting
a theme park. Yeah,
theme park. You didn't have 2 chapters about every attraction in the theme park. Tried to make it fit in the Star Wars. It was literally, I was like laughing because it was so like, this is that. It's like with a lot of the 80s cartoons, the whole like to promote the toy line is clearly to promote toys.
Mm-hmm.
It was a book about theme park attractions.
Yeah, they do what they can.
Bomb roasters or wherever those are called, they're chicken skewers.
Haven't been. Probably will never be able to go.
I just thought that name was stupid.
Yeah, it is. This next 1-star review, this one doesn't really count. So it says, I did not order this. Amazon have just sold it to me without authorization and doesn't allow me to claim a refund. Very unhappy.
Are you sure about that? Or were you trying to type out this review and you accidentally bought it?
Probably.
Let's read some of these 5-star reviews because I want to claim a theory, but we need to read some of these. Like A+. Lovely.
A+. That's the review. A+. 5 stars.
Love it.
Here's another 5-star review. Love it. What's this one up here? Little Jim says, a great collection of shorts about some famous and not so famous characters.
None of these people read these books. It's so clear.
Okay, what is this one? The story of various storytellers. I like the takes from series, from legends, and this is a fantastic tale of takes from Star Wars A New Hope. Episode 4. This is horribly written. With many different authors, all the stories have a different feel and provide a fantastic new views on a story many years ago in a galaxy far away. Sorry, that's a pretty poorly written review there.
No, I will agree. They are definitely feel very different. Some of them feel like bullshit.
Yeah. Here's another 5-star review. Bought as a gift for my Star Wars mad partner. He said some stories are better than other, but man, the writers of these reviews are not doing too well. Bought as a gift for Star Wars mad partner. He said some stories are better than others, but overall it's a great book and great to be able to read the short stories on the go in a travel-sized book. Okay.
Oh, sorry, I almost dropped an F-bomb right there on your channel.
Let's go to the next page. Like Star Wars, buy it. I'm a Star Wars geek, and this is exactly what I wanted it to be. I don't know how it holds up against other Star Wars literature, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Huh. Well, wonder if that person ever bought new Star Wars books. Great idea, well executed. This was a great read, addressing plot holes and giving great insight into events from A New Hope. Out of 40 stories, only a couple didn't work for me. Too many centered around Mos Eisley. Definitely a must through for Star Wars fans. Well, too many centered around Mos Eisley. Well, it's actually following the whole storyline.
Yeah, well, I will agree. You linger in the cantina for a long time. But the thing is, Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina did it so much better.
Here's one. Nice little book. Some of the stories are brilliant. So you ready to move on? These aren't as good as I thought they were. I was expecting way more.
So we said this with the Aftermath reviews and stuff, where Disney was paying people to put positive reviews out there. This is no exception to that. Yeah, we might as well hit the Aftermath.
You want to do
paperback? Click on the paperback. There.
All right, so this says 30%, 5 stars, 1 star, 22%.
What did you think of the Aftermath covers?
The covers, I enjoyed the covers. They're the best part of the book.
I think they're fine. They were neat looking, especially the first one. I like the blue.
Yeah.
It's like the only positive to the book.
It really is. It really is.
Written in third person present tense. Oh no.
So many.
Oh no.
Someone please rewrite this story. Star Wars Aftermath. So many sentence fragments. Fragments everywhere. Hard to follow. Weak verbs drained of potency. Pounds of dialogue to establish simple facts. Can't finish. Maybe cliff notes. A tear rolls down. Reading the online summaries of the story, I'm not sure how anyone could think this was a better follow-up story than Zahn's excellent works. I wouldn't feel right donating it. Would probably just recycle. Swing and a miss.
Did I tell you that because I own these again, when I bought them all from one seller and they're annotated because because I like page through them because I want to make sure that they aren't pages missing.
Mm.
If I ever want to read these again, I don't know. They're more like props, so I can.
Yeah.
But anyway, like literally, they're like trying to make sense.
Treat them like textbooks.
Yeah.
Well, here this one says Unreadable. I tried to read this 3 times. Still haven't pushed past 48% on Kindle. It's the structure, like the author is trying to write a script, short, choppy sentences followed by things that are alluded to in parentheses. This is a book in a book-length format, not a draft treatment for proposed project. Please finish writing the book in full, complete sentences, and maybe there will be more stars awarded. Okay. I get that you murdered our beloved EU with extreme prejudice, but please, in creating a new canon, give us books at the same quality as died in the Wolf fans were used to seeing throughout the 90s. Maybe the story is decent, but as stated, Aftermath is unreadable in its current format. I'd say that's a pretty solid review.
Yeah, it hits the nail right on the head, and I agree with this CWM. I had to switch to the audiobook.
Yeah.
Bad Aftermath was. I had to listen to Mark Thompson struggle through it.
Yeah, it's not an easy read to me. There's a lot of teases in it, if you're like trying to enjoy some of the stuff, especially with the movies that were coming out. I think this the last Aftermath book came out before episode 8. Or did it come out from
yeah.
I just remember you kept teasing and teasing. You're like, oh, is this guy that they're the big villain? You're like, oh, we're gonna get more information on Snoke finally, because that was the big thing that everybody's like, oh, we need to know what Snoke is. Who is he? Is he Plagueis? Is he Sidious? What is it? And then it turned out to be just some other villain that just dies at the end of the book.
Cut in half makes a flop sound when the top half of him hits the ground.
Yeah.
I remember. Did I ever tell you my first reaction to that? I literally laughed. like I cackled. And then my ex, she looks at me and she's like, Jeremy, that's not supposed to be funny. I'm like, but Caitlin, he made a flop sound.
Yeah.
Oh, he's wrong. Why turn that up when the music's swelling? And like with the close up of his face when Hux looks at him, his tongue's hanging out. Yeah. Just looks so gross and goofy.
Yeah. I want to see this one. It's a little bit longer. It's called Unreadable. Tragically boring and amateurishly written. Wendig wrote a story that no one would care to read if it weren't set in a certain galaxy long and far away. Wendig's writing style represents a textbook example of no escapism in modern science fiction, where his constant attention to politically correct diversity only acts to distract from the setting and story. This is made worse by his insistence to am I saying that right?
I don't know. Part of when we're on here, it kind of kills the text and it's hard to read.
Yeah, it says this made worse by his insistence to snuff any rising action in the pilot before. Yeah, okay. The plot before it starts. On multiple occasions, for example, the main character appears to die at the end of a chapter. After a dull check-in on the B plot, the reader returns to the main character, who simply brushes off the near miss and continues the same point point A to B plot they started with. I would best describe this book as a monochromatically diverse pulp, where it is diverse in name only, and the reader will quickly realize that all of the characters think and act with a single voice. Yeah, this is right. Chuck Wendig's The story has many twists and turns as a yardstick, yet great effort was made to explain to the reader the details of each character's sexual preferences. Nearly an entire chapter was dedicated to describing the beauty of a minor background character's lesbian marriage. For example, if Wendig had spent that for example was part of that last sentence. Sorry.
Yeah.
If Wendig had spent even half the effort expressing his socio-political opinions to the reader through his characters or making a compelling story, this book might have been readable, which is basically what we talked about earlier.
Exactly. You know? Exactly. This is the prototype of what was to come with where we are now with the Disney Star Wars canon.
Yeah.
And this is why I took off. I was done with it. It just doesn't. None of these characters are good.
No, I don't remember. The only one that I remember is Nora Wexley. That's because she appears in other books. Well,
she appears in one other book.
One other book.
Slightly better written than this, but is also bad.
Yes.
Which you met that author, right?
Yes.
She seems like a nice lady. That was more of one of those things where I think Del Rey got involved in the story group, got involved in.
I would agree with that.
That was her first book with Star Wars. But my issue is this this reader, I bet they were horrified when the second book came out, when we had interspecies erotica in one chapter, followed by another chapter with therapy Ewoks.
Oh yeah, the therapy Ewoks.
With one of the protagonists getting his eye graphically ripped out of his skull. The tone is just all over the place.
Yeah. So I've tried to push a lot of these Aftermath books out of my brain.
I feel
this one is true. Sad. A 1-star review. No real story, but a SJW propaganda piece. Really sad. The author should concentrate on real Star Wars story, more meaningful dialogues, and interesting personal interactions. Yeah.
Switch to 5 stars.
Ooh. Not very many of them. Okay, so this first one. Nice novels for the new extended universe.
Here we go.
It complements the stories. It's kind of like, is that supposed to be some sort of
troll
PC type thing? Oh, we're not the expanded, we're the extended universe.
It was the AMC board when they ended the expanded universe. They kept calling it the extended universe.
Ugh.
Some idiot thing that just stayed.
It's dumb. I don't like that.
Like if you called Star Trek Star Tour, or if you called Star Wars Star Conflict.
Yeah, that'd be dumb.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And it's like, does it really matter? I'm like, well, yeah, that's its name. That's like if I called Matthew Todd. Like,
Yeah.
Sure, I could call him Todd, but that's not his name.
Yeah, it's stupid. Finish this one off. Nice novels for the new extended universe. It complements the stories well, and it feels as a nice ending to the original character's storyline. What? If Force Awakens never happened, I would have loved this ending even more. What do you mean? A nice ending to the original character's storyline? Is this person talking about Aftermath? We had Han Solo in book 2. Right?
Yeah.
Han and Chewie.
The only movie character that's in the first one's Wedge. And oh no, Mom Mothma's in there and she's a weird pacifist.
Okay, but a nice ending to the original character's storyline. So what ending for Luke, Leia, or Han did we get that would have satisfied anybody?
Someone didn't read this book.
No. See, that's one of those, hey, go put a positive review on my book. That's stupid. I don't like that. It's untrue. Brilliant read. It's a Kindle customer.
Literally doesn't have a name on here.
This will remain one of my favorite entries in the Star Wars universe. A truly excellent read, beautiful prose, engaging characters, and a brilliant plot that kept me engaged to the last sentence. This was my first book by Wendig, and it will not be my last. Ew.
Might be his last.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, he got kicked out.
He got kicked out after.
Yeah, with the whole Marvel situation that was going on. He was like writing a Marvel book, and I think they were like, "You're fired." And he hadn't written a Star Wars book since.
Yeah. Everything he touched was.
Yeah, he did. He went on some huge political rant.
Yeah, he was he was attacking people on Twitter, and they finally had enough of it, as I recall.
Yeah, he was saying some real bad stuff about people. Nonsense.
They fired Chucky Boy.
Finally. The way he attacked fans for their 1-star reviews really set him over the edge, too.
Yeah.
But this 5 stars, the beautiful prose, engaging characters, and a brilliant plot that kept me engaged.
That's nothing words. Those are nothing. Those are sweet nothings. Whispering sweet nothings in Chuck Wendig's ear.
I don't like these.
Oh, here we go. Great condition. Perfect condition. I heard a little strange, but it looks at the New Republic, which is nice.
Man, what? Okay, what did you say? Is this one better than Arrived? What was it? Arrived quickly. My husband liked it. As a 5-star review.
Not quite on that level. At least this is the person we're assuming.
This could be the same person for all we know.
Bought it for their self.
Perfect condition. I heard this book is written a little strange, but it looks at the New Republic, which is nice. See, they review a book when they haven't even read it. Heard this book was written a little strange, but it looks at the New Republic, which is nice.
With
I wish they had a follow-up to that. See, we've got Obsidian 53. Hello there. They say in the comments, interesting, been considering reading Aftermath for some context after reading some of other canon and Legends books. Well,
take my advice. If you're going to trek through the Aftermath trilogy, do yourself a favor, because it's really hard to read because it's so bizarre. Just listen to Mark Thompson's audiobooks. He does a great job. Well, he does the best he can with the story. He puts on some really good performances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can find used paperbacks. Just get that. Don't spend $28 on the hardcover for these things,
or $7.99 for the paperback. Actually, it's $8.99 because new canon books are $1 more, and are that weird paperback size. I call it the Disney canon size if you're collecting.
Yeah, it really. I don't like those new size books. They're like real tall.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Good storyline. This is a 5-star review. If you are a huge Star Wars fan like me, then you will love this book. The story itself is really good, and I am definitely going to get the second book to the series. I highly recommend this book. Wow. I disagree with all of these people's
I mean, their opinions.
It is. That's all they. Yeah, that's what they really are. Except for Perfect Condition. I heard this book was a little strange, but I mean, that's not even.
That's a diamond in the rough of the 5-star.
Yeah, yeah. See this one, amazing story. What an outstanding addition to Star Wars canon. A must-read for diehard Star Wars fans. It's not true. If you're a diehard Star Wars fan, you might get mad at this book.
No, it is a test of your patience, for sure.
That it is. You want to know what happens to Jar Jar Binks? I guess this is the book for you.
Great. Excellent.
Fantastic read by a fantastic author. Highly recommend.
So lazy. Great story. Compliments.
Top age. There you go. 5-star. 5-star.
So, see, this is what we're getting into.
Look at this. 5 stars. My 8 year is enjoying this book. Someone's letting their 8 years.
Is that the child's age, or is that their 8th year of school if you're in the UK?
Wow.
Either way, it's not put together right. My grandson was excited when he opened the gift. Reviews called Good Choice. I love these reviews that aren't about the item. I bet you they were, and that they read it, and they're like, "Grandma,
So bad.
why do you not love me?"
Recent stuff. Yeah, people are reading this in this year. This is probably just the recent stuff. Why would you read this in 2020? Don't read it in 2020.
Dude, that will set you over the edge in 2020. Well, maybe they just ran out of good books and quarantined. They start reading the bad. Oh, speaking of bad, we should go to a book that you haven't read, but I have.
Okay.
Gambit Stealth. Now, this is what I consider one of the worst Star Wars books ever written, this duology.
Ooh, really? Which one is it?
I find it's that one.
The red one?
No, it's either or. It's fine.
Wait, are they the same book? No, Stealth and Siege.
Yeah, well, they're basically the same book because it's the most dragged out piece of shit.
Okay, so moving on to Star Wars Clone Wars Gambit Stealth.
So Karen Miller is, I consider, the worst EU author ever. She wrote 3 books and they're all terrible. Literally, I've gotten fights with people who defend the precursor to this book, Wild Space, is like a good book. It's not. It's really drawn out and stupid. But this book, she likes to make sure that you remember that Obi-Wan and Bail had to go to Segula, and Obi-Wan nearly died, and Segula. But basically, the plot is this. Anakin and Obi-Wan are secret agents now, and they get sent to this planet where this separatist leader has kidnapped a scientist to make a bioweapon that will kill humans, which has been done before. And I don't know. It's a mess. And Obi-Wan's mad at Anakin because Anakin won't tell him what happened to Shmi. And Anakin's mad at Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan had a girlfriend named Taria Damson who's dying of space shellfish poisoning. And this is Obi-Wan, yet another Obi-Wan girlfriend that's a Jedi because we're doing this again.
Oh, wow.
And meanwhile, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan's not girlfriend, friend with benefits, Taria Damson, are doing stuff that doesn't really do anything to the plot, and Mace Windu helps them sometimes, and Yoda's with a scientist at the Jedi Temple with Bail Organa trying to get an antidote. It's bad. It's really bad. And the first book just ends on like mid-sentence and continues on in Siege. But let's read some reviews.
Okay. Would you like to go to the 5 stars or the 1 stars?
1 stars, because there aren't that many. And I don't know why, because
only 2. One of them is long.
Ooh, here we go. Can you scroll up? I'm going to read the long one. Another Star Wars book about sharing your feelings. Just what I was talking about. Is this a poem? I like this. It's good to share your feelings, isn't it? Good to get anything unsaid out there for people to hear. It also helps to deal with them and put them behind you. Turn from the dark side, as it were. Except wait. Anakin never did deal with his feelings, did he? That's how he lost himself to the dark side, after all. Anakin never faced the things he did and his experiences and used his Jedi training to deal with his anger. If only he'd expressed his feelings like he does here every single page. And Obi-Wan also deals with his inner anger and I can't read sometimes. And Obi-Wan also deals with an inner anger and on nearly every page. Well, funky there. A trained Jedi, you only raised his voice a few times in the prequels. Here is angry with every single person he comes in contact with, but it's okay. He keeps it inside sometimes. This is completely different from the Obi-Wan I know from the series and books. Except, wait, according to Clone Wars Wild Space, he knows all about Anakin and Padme, warns Padme off a relationship with Anakin, and then totally misses Anakin and Padme having a relationship for 3 years. That's the thing that happens in Wild Space. It opens with the end of Attack of the Clones, and Obi-Wan's like, Padme, you can't be with Anakin. It's bad for him. GTFO. And then then they decided to shrink the timeline of Anakin's knighthood from 1.5 to 2 years to 3 months, which is the other big problem with Wild Space. Pros. There's a battle at the start. That's how they get Ahsoka gets injured, and that's how they get Ahsoka out of the story.
Oh, good.
And Obi-Wan gets kind of injured, but not injured enough to not go on this secret mission. 2, a scientist who feels guilt over what she's doing. 3, some great writing in the preparation of the trip to Planet Boring. I will agree with that. I don't remember what that planet was called. Some interesting thoughts from Ahsoka. That is true. Ahsoka is believe it or not, Ahsoka is the highlight of these 2 books.
Wow. That's
how bad everyone else is written. Ahsoka's written fairly well because this is like there's only 4 novels, well 5 if we count the Clone Wars movie novelization by Karen Traviss. Ahsoka's only in 5 novels. Not a big book character. Cons. Obi-Wan and Anakin talk about their feelings so much they actually tell each other to stop talking about their feelings, which is what I was doing. One, in the middle of keeping back more rage than a dark side lunatic, says, "Oh, Anakin," in practically every other page, and then screams whatever his latest bizarre opinion is. There are some very adult elements here. A woman getting pulled up by the hair and getting kicked while on the ground, elements of torture, suicide. I am reading this book for fun, If I wanted to be depressed, I'd read the paper. Hey, it's exactly what I was saying about Delilah S. Dawson's book.
Yeah.
Why is this story 2 books? If you cut the group therapy, it'd be finished already. Some tips. I can't say all the 90s Star Wars books were great, but Rogue Squadron, Thrawn, Luke and the gang had lots more action in events without all their feelings and repressed anger. So, less feelings, more action. Less Obi-Wan acting like a spoiled kid. It's clear which Clone Wars episode Dird was in before reading Anakin almost died. I nearly had to look it up, so throw that in. But that's just my opinion. If you're already all right with people expressing their pain a lot, this book should be fine. But Han Solo took Chewie's death better than these folks' minor plans going awry.
That's a good review.
That is the best review I've ever read.
That is a good one.
I could do making a video review. Let's get Jason's review here. His 1 star. It's just off, in quotations. There was a lot of dialogue in this book. Lots of talking, discussing feelings, reflection, and reflection on all of the discussing. Miller does well capturing the characters, though she doesn't capture them and then move on with the story at a frantic pace. She's not really an action writer, and that's what we're pretty used to when we read Star Wars novels. Action or large complicated battle plans. It was kind of as if Lifetime did a TCW. It's a much better novel than Wild Space, though. Fundamentally disagree with that. Fundamentally. All right, let's go to 5-star reviews so I can vomit.
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
Good book. Great. Good book. I thought you said it was great. Why are you downgrading to good book? 5 stars. Great work. Happy. A great read. Star Wars nut. Ew. I don't think you can talk about that on here. I am a huge Star Wars fan. Apparently, if you're gonna nut. Reading continuing journeys of the characters in the Star Wars universe, and am always excited when new series come out. Star Wars Gambit, like others written by Karen Miller, this one flows along and is an enjoyable read. What others? Wild Space? The only other Star Wars book she's read. Maybe this person is referring to other Karen Miller books, non-Star Wars.
Yeah, could be.
One of the best Star Wars books I have ever read. That's a lie. This is what I expect out of Star Wars book: action, discussions, inner battles, plot against the heroes, realistic friendships and characters felt right. And better yet, there are ethical dilemmas in what is that?
It is an exclamation point.
Okay, I could the T and the explanation kind of made this weird looking D.
Yeah, it does.
Dilemmas like do we sacrifice innocent bystanders in order to save countless others? And if we do, is their blood on our hands? Something to think about. Obviously, they have never heard the saying, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, because this wasn't written by Vonda A. McIntyre or A.C. Crispin, who wrote Star Trek books. I take my hat off once again to Miss Miller for writing another delightful, entertaining, iconic book. I read that as idiotic. 5-star, good read, continuing on the Clone Wars saga. 5-star, action-packed novel. We get the idea here. It's a lot of people that didn't read the book.
Yeah, exactly. As always, awesome. As always, awesome. What does that even mean? As always, awesome. Ugh. Okay, so I think we could do some more of these another time, another stream. I had fun doing this. Did you reread Heir to the Empire, right?
I did. I just finished it today.
And you wanted to give your thoughts on that again? Your fresh thoughts?
You and I were talking about this when I started reading it, and that you thought that Heir to the Empire was overrated.
Yeah, well, it's been a long time since I read it.
And I thought the same thing when we talked about it. And I have to disagree. There is a reason this book is so beloved, and it's not just the nostalgia of that era of Star Wars and being excited for the prequels were coming out and that sort of thing. So you and I both suffered Star Wars fatigue heavily. I'm just coming out of this fatigue after Rise of Skywalker and reading so many bad new canon books and reading some of the worst Legends books I've ever read, like the Gambit duology. There's just a lot of like crap that I put up with. So I said to myself one day, I'm sitting here and I'm like, if I'm going to love Star Wars again, I need to go back to what I loved about Star Wars. So I read some Star Wars comics. I told you about some Tales comics, Jedi the Dark Side, which I had never read before, which was a later Dark Horse comic. And I started Jedi Apprentice, The Rising Force. I'm about halfway through it, and I'm very much enjoying it. It's one of the first EU YA books I read. I read that probably when I was like 9 or 10. Then I said, I have the audiobook for Heir the Empire, the one they did for the 20th anniversary. I'm going to pop that on. I'm going to listen to it while I deliver food, because that's one of my jobs I have. And it's been wonderful. It's such a lovely book. All the characters feel right.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say, but we've read so many bad books where like Leia feels off, or Han, right, or like Luke. Not so much Han, because Han's barely in anything anymore. Dead.
Yeah.
Dead. But like Luke didn't feel right. Leia, like none of the big three didn't feel right. And then they feel correct. Like Lando's in it, which was wonderful. Chewie's in it, and Chewie has some characterization. The Kashyyyk stuff is fun. It's a fun read, but like the new characters are really interesting. Like Thrawn, of course. Mara's, if I have any complaints.
Yeah.
Mara's a bit mean. It makes sense, but she's just nasty to Luke throughout the book. And the reveal happens, of course. So she blames Luke for her life being ruined.
Right.
And that makes sense, but she's so nasty to him. Reading Pelion in this, after reading, he's in a Karen Traviss book called No Prisoners, which is a Clone Wars story. It's the only Clone Wars story where Captain Rex is the protagonist. Well, he's one of the protagonists. So Rex Ahsoka story with Pelion and Callista and her sect of Jedi. It's a big bantam love letter from Karen Traviss.
Kind of sounds a little interesting, honestly. Like, I didn't know Callista was actually going to show up in like earlier timeline.
Yeah, and she's in No Prisoners. It's a really quick read. It's very much a post 9/11 book. They're on base Afghanistan. They're using tactics the U.S. military used in that war, because Karen Traviss was a war correspondent. You see that a lot in her books. That's like her strong suit.
Yeah.
It's neat to see Pelion in this, because a lot of times I've talked to Dylan, who my co-host on the Legends podcast, and he's like, Pelion is poorly written in this book. I would argue that Pelion is broken by what's happened with the Empire, and that's why he's a different character in the Thrawn trilogy as opposed to later books in the timeline and No Prisoners, which happens earlier, where he's really fun in No Prisoners, but in this he's kind of by the books. He's kind of nervous a lot of the time. He doesn't know Thrawn well. He's worried that Thrawn's going to be like Darth Vader and kill him for him messing up. And like Thrawn's he's a cunning villain, but he's like an honorable villain, kind of.
Yeah.
He's more complex than he is in the new canon. He's actually well written in this book.
Yeah.
Not something that I'm used to at this point after reading Zahn's second Thrawn trilogy. Joruus Cybaoth, the crazy clone.
Oh yeah,
he's freaky in this. He doesn't have a lot to do in Heir of the Empire compared to Dark Force Rising is the one of the trilogy I'm really excited about, because we get the first meeting of Luke and Joruus. He's Joruus. He thinks he's Joruus. but he's not. In fact, he pronounces the name wrong, which, you just read Outbound Flight.
Yes. Yes. I really enjoyed that. That's the book that pulled me out of a Star Wars fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed that. And I saw a lot of elements pulled from that in the new Thrawn book, that Thrawn Alliances.
Yeah.
Which, you can't, it's the author, he's going to do that. He's got his second chance to play in his little sandbox there, so he can do what he wants.
He has more freedom, I think.
Yeah, I think they're like, oh, can you do this? And he's like, yeah, you sign me a 3-book deal or more, then I'll do whatever. But
it was interesting. Temin Carr is a great character. It's the leader of the smugglers, an honorable Jabba, but not quite a Jabba, which is nice. Wedge is fun. He's barely in it, but he's fun. Boris Phalia, the Bothan, who's gets Akbar imprisoned. He's a slimy character in the New Republic. Mon Mothma isn't obnoxious, which is nice. Mon Mothma character, unlike in Aftermath.
Oh yeah, she's horrible in the new canon.
Arm the armies because this is peace times.
You gotta disarm the whole New Republic. It's like, but you're still in war.
It's a couple days after the Battle of Endor.
Yeah, you still have the Empire scattered throughout the galaxy. You just want to do a weapons ban.
Do you remember when she almost got Ronald Reagan after in life? Dead? I'm sorry, that's the best way of putting it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Rob D says, do you think Zahn will ever write a non-Thrawn Star Wars book ever again? No. What has he written that's not Thrawn?
That's Star Wars. The Hand of Thrawn duology. That's one. Survivor's Quest.
That's not a Thrawn book?
No, Survivor's Quest is basically the pseudo sequel to Outbound Flight. It's a Luke Mara book. It's one of the few that's Luke and Mara newlywed. Oh, okay. I think it's the only one because Mara's not in Young Jedi Knights or Junior Jedi Knights. It's them married before New Jedi Order. Let's see what else. Scoundrels is an Ocean's 11 book with Han, Lando.
Oh yeah.
Really bad.
I tried to. One of my old jobs, I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to listen to a Star Wars book, and I tried listening to that one, Scoundrels, and I turned it off.
It's a bad Mark Thompson production too.
I was so bored with it. I was like, I can't do this. I'll have to, when I get to it, which I'm not looking forward to, I'll give it a read. But man, I was not happy. So you definitely really enjoyed Heir to the Empire.
I did.
So when are you gonna listen to book 2?
I started it.
I started it. Okay.
Before this podcast.
Awesome. Good. So you have to come back on and talk about that one.
Yeah.
Your full thoughts. So it's been such a long time since I've read these, and there's a lot of these books that I read right before we had our first kid. So the stress of that kind of caught up to me. So my brain pushed out a lot of what I had read before, because I read the entire New Republic era. So when it comes to certain books, no clue what I read. I can't remember. Like Planet of Twilight, don't remember anything from that book.
Really bad.
The Darksaber, right?
That's a good one.
Don't remember anything that happened in that.
You don't remember the Wampa attack?
No, I don't.
Or a certain character getting killed off from the movies and everyone got upset over it?
Nope, don't remember. So it's going to be a whole new thing whenever I get back to it. Maybe I might read those, the Essentials Star Wars guide. I might read that, get a refresher. It might bring back things in my brain there. But that'll come eventually. I've got Star Wars: The Approaching Storm that I need to pick back up and read through that. I know that's got mixed reviews on that one, but I was enjoying what I read so far. But I'm still pretty early on in the book.
I will second Supreme Overlord Tamira. Scoundrels is very disrespectful to A.C. Crispin's canon.
Oh, wow.
Oh
Didn't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, Lando, it's a rebellion era book where Han and Lando get back together for this job, and then Han screws Lando over again. The whole reason that Rebel Dawn works so well is Han does something, and it's not a pleasant, like it's very bad for Lando. And that was years and years ago. There's years passed between Rebel Dawn and Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
And it works. It works really well. And then Zahn's like, I'm going to do Zahn things because I'm Timothy Zahn.
Yeah.
And he decides, I'm going to make Ocean's 11, but Star Wars, because Steve Perry made The Bodyguard and called it Shadow Games. Shadow Games is basically the Whitney Houston movie, The Bodyguard.
Oh, okay, nice.
That's pretty much it, but with Dash Rendar.
I like old Dash, of course.
It's like one of the few times you ever see Dash Rendar.
Yeah, the only reason I like the guy is because he was Shadows of the Empire video game on Nintendo 64. Yeah.
He's also fun in the book.
Yeah.
Barely in the comic, but he's fun in the book. And he also has this idiotic cameo in the sequel, Shadows of the Empire Evolutions of the comic. Did you ever read that?
Mm-mm.
It's bad. It's basically, what if we make Guri a protagonist? And what if Luke, Leia, and Han help her out right after the Battle of Endor? Like, why? When you're trying to create a government, would you help this android that Luke had a fist fight with on Coruscant?
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember that? That's the climax of Shadows of the Empire is Luke and Guri have a fist fight. He doesn't use a lightsaber. They fight. They go fisticuffs. It's so weird. Yeah, but you remember the see-through bathrobe. We all know where you're at.
Yeah, we have so much weird
that's a Steve Perry thing.
Disturbing things in the Shadows of the Empire. A lot. There's some comments in here. Wait, hold on. All American Cornbread. Are those are the gold scales of Waru as his profile picture.
Isn't that great?
Thank you, All American Cornbread. You're banned from the channel now. Obsidian 53B says, had Star Wars fatigue after 8. After 9, I went into the Alphabet Squadron books, Legends, Thrawn trilogy, played Jedi Fallen Order Squadrons, watched Clone Wars, and been having a blast ever since. That's good. I enjoyed Jedi Fallen Order a lot. I love that. I'm so happy they have the soundtrack, which is really good, Jeremy. I think you'll like it.
It's a good soundtrack. Better than Kevin Kiner's TCW stuff.
Okay, yes.
That was pretty bad. I don't like Jedi Fallen Order because it's just bad Dark Souls, and it's rolling around simulator.
Yeah.
And then eventually you can just force push everything off. It's the same reason I hate Force Unleashed. Eventually, the difference is Jedi Fallen Order. It's like, what if we just reversed Force Unleashed? You're horribly underpowered for most of the game until you just like have to do annoying grinding on 3 planets.
Yeah.
4 planets?
Point.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like I guess just a casual gamer. That was the last game I played. I haven't picked it up. I still haven't even finished Red Dead Redemption 2. So that's just my gaming life is basically just once a year I'll get into video game. I'll play a video game. Star Wars Squadrons came out.
More gaming than I do now. So
the Squadrons came out. I haven't purchased that yet. Probably get it for my son when he for Christmas or something. But he plays. He beat that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. He beat that game.
Story.
He was the Spider Story. Yeah. Well, he was 5 when he beat that game, which is incredible for I think. Yeah, that story. He's like, there's a spot. I can't remember what planet it's on. I guess it's Sheik. He's like in a pond. Yeah. After he jumps off those little bouncy plant things, gets in the water, and there's all these big spiders all over the place. And he's like, I'm up here like working, and he's like, Daddy, you have to help me out. There's spiders. They're scary. And I was like, no, just get up and use the force, push them or whatever. He's like, no, they're too scary. He just like sits there and just floats in the water, treading the water for the longest time before he finally gets the nerve to get up there and wipe them out. But it was just like, just take care of it. No, it's too scary. Well, then he's like, gets on Dathomir, and he's like, look at those scary people. Just like slicing them and dicing and stuff. It's like, you're not scared of the zombies, but you're scared of the
I'll listen to him on that. That first thing when you step on the web and the big one drops on you and you have a quick time event. Yeah, that was unpleasant. I didn't want to fight any of them again, especially when you fight the giant white one in the cave that you go to on accident.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to get those little jump scares.
And that one's a big issue because it's in a tiny area. If you leave the area, it resets the boss, but doesn't reset your health.
That's the one thing that was a little irritating about the game. It's like when you go to a resting point, or when you find those little the circles on the ground. I guess you could call it a rest point. You go to save your game, and every time you save, and you hit back to the normal play, it's all the bad guys are back to where they're at, and you're like, oh crap, didn't want to have to. Time consuming.
Yeah, because especially when you're trying to regenerate health that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like a specific point on Kashyyyk near that white spider cave, there's like 3 flame troopers, 2 spiders, 2 sniper troopers, and I think some of those scout troopers with the weird like electric sticks.
Yes.
And they all go to battle, and inevitably one of the snipers takes a pot shot at you. It's the only one that sees you. But I got to this point because I had to do it over and over again to try to just retain health, and I was just grinding this way.
Yeah.
That you're just like, okay, you just sit there and you let all the stormtroopers and spiders, just let them fight it out for like 5 minutes, and then what's left, you just like, eventually you just force push them off the edge.
Yeah, that's the best thing. I enjoyed the game though. I had fun with it. Haven't played it since I beat it. It was fun watching the kids play it too. Well, the kid play it.
Did you kill all 4 of the crazy monsters and get that achievement?
I believe so. I got I unlocked basically everything except maybe 1 crate that I can't find anywhere. And I can't remember where it was.
YouTube tutorial.
I haven't because I don't remember where it was.
But like, so when I was fighting, we're getting to Fallen Order talk because I have not talked video games in a hot minute. When you fight the thing on Dathomir, one of those weird things that thrashes around, runs around like it's rabid.
Yeah.
I was so overpowered at that point, it just force pushed it off. I never hit it with the lightsaber. I didn't even bother.
Yeah.
And I got the achievement. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was one of those people that like, oh, you could go there. So as soon as it was unlocked, I was like, I'm going to Dathomir. And that was like terrifying because I was very low on power. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go back and try to level up a little bit.
Yeah, just hang out on Zephos for a hot minute. I got, you remember the windmill things on Zephos?
Yes.
And the weird smashing the rocks. I got thrown to the top of the map and I fell on top of the hill, and then I went through, like, I went on top of the mountain and I fell through the mountain and had to reset.
Oh, that sucks.
I was like, are you kidding me? I didn't have too much time. I had to make up. Yeah.
Jeez. I'm sitting and asks a question for the both of us. What do we hope for Jedi Fallen Order 2 in gameplay and in stories? Well,
I don't care.
I honestly don't really care either. I just hope that it's got good music again and they release the soundtrack and that it's fun for someone who likes to just sit back and veg out into a game.
You know what I rather want? The Rogue Squadron games to be released on Switch.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Maybe do some patches to fix some of the bugginess of Rogue Squadron 3 specifically. I mean, Rogue Squadron 3 is not a perfect game by any means. Especially the walking missions in a flight simulator game. Those are kind of hellish and awful.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can play the first Rogue Squadron game on PC. It's on Steam. I have played it. It's pretty fun. But I want to play 2 and 3 again, and they're all GameCube exclusives, and I just want them on Switch.
Oh yeah,
It'd be nice.
Yeah, I was never like a huge Star Wars gamer. I know they came out with a whole bunch of games. My favorite one was Shadows of the Empire. I
beat it recently.
Yeah, I had the Rogue Squadron. I think wasn't it Rogue Squadron on Nintendo 64?
The first one, yeah.
Yeah.
It was on Nintendo 64 and PC.
Yeah, I like that one. And then I remember renting the Pod Racers. Never owned it, but I rented it. And that's pretty much my Star Wars gaming up until the Battlefront games, which I was late to those. Battlefront 2, I was on top of that one, but Battlefront, the first one.
Are you talking about the EA ones?
Yeah, the newer stuff. Yeah, it took me a while to get a new system, so when I finally got one, I was like, "Oh, we'll get the Star Wars Battlefront." Then Fallen Order, and then I haven't played Star Wars games since. I didn't even know they were doing a Fallen Order 2.
Yeah, that got announced recently.
Because I thought that there was I don't want to go into too many spoilers, I guess, if people are in here wanting to watch it or play it. But I thought that the way that they ended it was not...
that they can't leave well enough alone.
That's very true.
Especially in Disney Star Wars.
Yeah. I
mean, that's why we're getting a spin-off Clone Wars series called Bad Batch.
Yeah. All American Cornbread coming back at me saying you cannot ban the Mighty Waru.
I will say Star Wars Bounty Hunter, I think, is a really fun game. It's a little buggy, but it was a great PS2 and GameCube game. You can get it on PlayStation 4. It's fun. I love the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2. They're in my top 10 favorite video games of all time. Might be number 1, but I mean, you got to also put in classic Doom in there, like OG Doom. Got to put Max Payne 2 specifically. That game's pretty solid.
Oh, 007. GoldenEye 007 is probably my all-time favorite video game.
I've really enjoyed that one. This is my favorite Bond game, but there's a bunch of really terrible Bond games.
I mean, like that back in the day, as a kid, it had 4-player, you had all the controllers hooked up, split screen, everybody sitting there yelling at each other. You'd have teammates, and then you'd betray your teammate. Just such good times.
Did you ever play Agent Under Fire?
Mm-mm.
It's the only one in like the PS2 original Xbox era that came close to GoldenEye. It was an original story. Pierce Brosnan came back to be Bond, as I recall.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he did voice for a couple of the Bond games after Die Another Day. I know he was in Nightfire, which that game's really bad.
Nightfire sounds like a bad title.
It's meh. It has a song that was a hit single called Give Me Everything or Nothing. And it's very terrible early 2000s pop with like a techno beat. Quality's not here to like share in that.
Yeah. See, well, here's something different. All American Cornbread, the new game Squadrons has a character with the pronouns they, them.
Here we go.
I don't even know what that really means, to be honest with you.
That means you're non-binary.
Okay.
Matthew, you can't be this elderly.
Well, it's just I can't keep up with society.
You don't live in California. I'm around this like all the time. Like it's not.
I would implode.
I know. It's just a thing. You just
they or them. It's
yeah, when you're non-binary.
That sounds like what is it? Bipolar right? Because bipolar, you have to do multiple personalities, right?
Oh, so you're going with the plural. Well, think of it this way. To refer to refer to someone as it is very derogatory. That's why they went with the plural.
Sorry, I just don't. None of it. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't, and it never will. Silly nonsense. Rob D. I just found out Star Wars: The Old Republic is on Steam now. I've never played it. I've never played it either.
The Old Republic is on Steam? What? Does this mean I have to play video games again? I can try this out. Oh, also, Matthew, when you giving me that SG?
That one right there. Never.
You never play it.
That was my high school graduation gift.
It could be my college graduation gift.
You silly man.
You see how I do this? You know, snake myself in.
Yeah. Well,
you never play it though.
I know. I need to get back into it. Well, I guess we could go ahead and wrap this up. I enjoyed talking these 5-star reviews, going into like a little re-review of Heir of the Empire with you.
Yeah, just a brief one, because I won't review them this time around of a reread. I think I might start Road to Crucible again, because I found that thumbnail you made me a while back.
Well, hey, I can make you another
literally years ago now.
Yeah.
When we were first friends.
It wasn't very
Truce of Bakura.
Truce of Bakura, yeah.
Truce of Bakura was wonderful.
It was a dull book.
I loved it. The enchantment with the velociraptors that smelled with their nose tongues.
Yes. I was just about to say, didn't that have like dinosaur type villains?
Yeah, the Sussy Rook. And they ripped your soul out and put it in a robot.
Oh gosh.
Their thing of like immortality. And they're like, we like Luke because he's already partway there because he had a mechanical hand.
So stupid.
And they capture that force sensitive kid. And like he's the one that feels out Luke in the Force.
There's there is a lot of garbage. There is a lot of trash.
Not garbage. It's good.
It's really not
weird.
It's like in the New Republic, right? Or yeah, the New Rebellion. The guy with the mask is like there were like a robot factory there too that they were sending out, blowing up people.
Yeah, they're going to take over, and it's one of Luke's failed students.
Yes. But they treat it like you're supposed to know who it is, right? The whole time.
Yeah, well, he's from. Well, yeah. So that isn't just. She can't be blamed. I can't remember who wrote New Rebellion, because Michael Stackpole shoehorned Corin Horn into the first class. And Corin Horn, Mr. I'm better than Luke. I beat him and I run away. And it was my idea to stop Exar Kun and Champions of the Force. That was me. I gave them the suggestion of that. Corin Horn is just a dildo of a character. It's Stackpole's ego made into the best pilot of Rogue Squadron and the best Jedi ever.
Yeah, if I was an author and had a book in Star Wars, I wouldn't be that guy.
No, there's just like certain things you shouldn't do. Number one, you shouldn't make a character that beats Vader unless it's Luke Skywalker.
I guess I could say that I'm very, very happy that Chuck Wendig did not write a story with the main three after Return of the Jedi, because I think he would have destroyed them.
Watched Luke for sure. I mean, he already did weird things with Han.
Yeah.
Han didn't quite feel right. Leia didn't feel right either. They felt better than Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
Mon Mothma was a dumpster fire character.
Didn't Wedge show up with like a bouquet of flowers or something? No, that was for Wexley. He showed up.
For Nora.
And she's like, oh, she gets out and it talks about her husband or something.
Yeah, because she's like torn.
Yeah, and he's like, ooh, okay. Like awkward moment.
Yeah.
It was stupid.
That was weird. That was weird characterization. Well, Wedge is tortured the whole first Aftermath book.
Yeah, he has trouble walking.
Yeah, they just beat him and like cut him with a knife and leave him and don't give him food. It's weird and unpleasant, but it's not as unpleasant as Delilah S. Dawson's books.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. I enjoyed this. This was a fun stream talking about the reviews, the good and the bad. Definitely going to pick out.
And the ugly.
Yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly. And the great, I guess. Still, I think the review of the night was that 5-star review because it shipped early.
Yeah, but the best 1-star review has to go to that poem.
Yes, yeah,
formatted.
Yeah, I like that one too. But guys, thanks for joining. Go check out Jeremy over at Stupid Chainsaw Productions.
Yeah.
And you know where to find me. See you guys on Thursday. Bye.
Bye.